Okay, get this. What if you could build a whole custom app with just one sentence? It sounds a little like science fiction, right? Well, today we're going to see that in action as we watch a team of AI tools try to do that exact thing.
And it all kicked off with this one request. On the surface, it sounds simple enough. The goal was to make a tool where you could just drop in any YouTube channel link, it would scrape all the latest video transcripts, and then let you have a full-on conversation with all that content. Easy to say, but that's a pretty tall order for any human developer, let alone an AI.
Now, for a job this big, you can't just throw one tool at it. You need a squad, a real dream team. And in this case, our team wasn't human at all. Nope, it was a trio of brand new specialized AI tools, each picked for a very specific job. All right, so let's meet the players on this AI dream team. First up, we've got our coder, which is Claude CodeWeb. This AI is specifically trained to write really clean, efficient Python. Basically, it's our senior developer. Then you've got the brain, Google's new Gemini API file search. This is the magic piece that's going to make sense of all the data and let us actually talk to it. And finally, we have the data collector, Apify. Think of this as our scout, the tool that can go out and reliably grab all that information from YouTube. This is our specialized unit, ready to go.
Now, you might be thinking, wow, with a team like that, this is going to be a piece of cake. But you know how it goes with ambitious projects. Things didn't exactly go off without a hitch. In fact, it hit a pretty frustrating roadblock right at the start.
So the expectation was that Claude would just dive right in and start building the app. The reality? Yeah, not so much. It got completely stuck in this bizarre infinite loop, trying to clone an empty code repository over and over and over again. And you won't believe what the fix was. It just needed a tiny little nudge from a human, literally just adding one single empty file to break the cycle and finally get the wheels turning. And once that one tiny hurdle was out of the way, that's when things got really interesting. It was like the floodgates opened. The AI broke free from that loop and immediately started showing us what it could actually do. A total aha moment. And this is where my jaw kind of dropped. The very first thing the AI did was create its own project plan. It laid out this perfect to-do list. It immediately understood the entire scope of the project, outlining every single step, from creating files for the API keys all the way to building the final chat interface. This wasn't just an AI following orders. This was an AI thinking like a project manager. And then it was just off to the races. The AI just absolutely blazed through its own to-do list. It wrote all the Python scripts, it set up the entire file structure, and it even generated a super detailed README file with instructions on how to run everything. And it did all of this in just a couple of minutes. I mean, seriously, minutes. The speed was just unreal. And you're probably wondering, okay, this must have cost a fortune in compute time, right? Well, get this. The grand total for this entire complex custom-built application from the ground up, $1. A single buck. I mean, just think about the economic implications of that for a second. It's kind of staggering.
So the code is written. It's time to fire it up. We're on the edge of our seats. And for a second, it felt like a total victory. Right up until the moment everything came to a sudden, dramatic stop.
And for that brief moment, man, it was glorious. The app actually launched. A little user interface popped up, and it immediately started crawling the YouTube channel, pulling down all the video data just like it was designed to. It was working. It was working perfectly. And then, bam, this big, ugly error message flashes across the terminal. The whole process just grinds to a halt. Turns out, the AI had used the wrong syntax for that new Gemini file search API. So after all that incredible speed and intelligence, the entire project was dead in the water, just inches from the finish line.
But here's where the story goes from just being cool to something straight out of science fiction. Instead of a human developer having to dig through the code to find the bug, the problem was just handed right back to the AI that made the mistake in the first place.
And its response was just, wow. You show it the error from the terminal, and it doesn't just guess what's wrong, it analyzes it and comes back, plain as day, saying, I see the issue. The file search API syntax I used is incorrect. It literally diagnosed its own bug. It basically said, oops, my bad.
What happened next was just a logical, almost human-like debugging process. First, it analyzed the error. Then it went out and did web searches, reading the official documentation to find the correct syntax. After that, it rewrote the broken lines of its own code, and then it committed the final working fix back to the repository. The AI didn't just build the app, it debugged and repaired it.
Okay, so the AI says it fixed the bug. Now for the moment of truth. With that fix implemented, does this thing actually work? Let's find out.
For the very first test, we're pointing the app at the creator's own YouTube channel, which is all about creative tools. The question is pretty straightforward. What has he said about Adobe?
And the answer? Absolutely perfect. I mean, look at this. It didn't just find keywords. It pulled out super specific details, like the conferences he attended and even brand new features he talked about, like Firefly Generate Soundtrack. It even correctly summarized his overall position as an expert on their tools. It understood the context. The fix worked.
Okay, so it works on one channel. But was that just a fluke? Was it a one-trick pony? To find out, the tool was pointed at a totally different YouTube channel, Matt Wolf's, which is all about AI, and asked for a quick summary of his recent topics.
And boom, another perfect result. Just like that. The tool instantly pivoted, crawled the new channel, and spit out this flawless summary of the 5 latest AI tools Matt Wolf had been talking about. This proved it. The AI didn't just build a one-off script, it had built a genuinely powerful, reusable tool.
So that brings us to the really big idea here. We just saw an AI take a single prompt, design the architecture for an app, write all the code at an insane speed, and then, this is the crazy part, diagnose and fix its own mistakes. So the question this leaves us with is, if this is what AI can do today, what does that mean for tomorrow? If an AI can build and debug its own tools, what does that empower us, the human creators, to build next?